Hey guys, this is Andy with 9T Worship. We want to take a second and show you how we use our broadcast DAW template to mix for our online stream. We're giving that away for free. It's customizable. It's a great product. We're giving that away for free when you partner with us to reach your online streaming goals. We're here to help, and we want to walk you through how we do it. That's sort of the broadcast or console, sort of the age-old question here. But for a lot of reasons, we choose to mix in a DAW. I'll walk you through those, and I can show you how we do it, why we do it, and maybe I can help answer any questions that you have. Obviously, first things first is how are we getting tracks into the computer? That can happen a lot of ways. It can happen USB out of your digital console. If you have a PreSonus console or a Behringer X32 or an M32, those can, a lot of consoles can come out USB. You can shoot USB into your DAW, bring in channels that way, and then route your DAW into our template. That's super easy to do. Or you can do like we do at our church, and we use Dante, Digital Audio Network, through Ethernet. Bidirectional audio channels are being sent back and forth. And so we pull that out of our network and we bring it into our computer with a program called Dante Virtual Sound Card. It sort of acts as a virtual interface the computer can recognize, and then we patch everything into the computer and the channels that we want to go, align everything with a program called Dante Controller. So a lot of different ways to do that. Those are questions that you don't need to be afraid of. Ask them once you learn. It's pretty darn simple, and once it's routed, it's super consistent. You save it in with the template and you never have to change it. So let's dive in and let's talk a little bit about why we think mixing in a DAW is better than mixing with a console. Jumping in right here, let's take a look at how we have things routed. You have a kick out. The kick in is right here. I can unhide that channel or hide it, but like the kick in is being routed to our kick in sample. So our drums, we have a kick out, we have a kick in, snare top, bottom. The snare top is also routed into a third channel here that we call our snare sample. Both of those have Slate Trigger 2, so we give these sounds away with the DAW template. So these are computer samples that fire every time the kick happens, and a computer sample that fires every time the snare happens. And if you want to know why that's important, it helps give you a full supplemented sound to your kick drum and then your snare. And so pretty straightforward from here is hi-hats. Our two toms, and our toms are our toms. We do not trigger those, although there are available for you tom sample 1 and tom sample 2 in the DAW. You can choose to use those in the template if you want. And we have a stereo overhead that we are bringing in, and all of the drums sum into what makes mixing in a DAW sound like a record, which is what you want to do. You want to take advantage of everything that you can do in a computer that we can't really do in a console. A console can do some things when you're using wave servers and some things like that. You can add some cool things in a console. But in my opinion, it doesn't give you the same punch as running everything into a drum bus. So we can take all of these sounds right here and do some magic in a drum bus. We can throw, Waves API is a compressor that's a really fast, good compressor for drum summing. Sounds really great. It helps the drums. We got some tonal EQ happening right here, and so it's like it's really great to give you that studio-like sound that brings the whole kit together. And so one thing I'd like to mention though, when it comes to using this or using a DAW, is that when you just look at this, like we have at our church, we have high school kids and college kids. They mix audio for our broadcast. Now, they're not audio engineers per se, but like we build a really strong sandbox for them to play in. They don't have to do a lot, but what we ask them to do, they can learn well, and that's really what you want of a volunteer. So this is laid out pretty simple. Here are our channels, moving into our buses, moving into our effects, and then moving into our VCAs. These VCAs right here that we have a 16-channel fader port by Presonus at our church that our volunteers can sort of like mix in, makes things a little bit easier. But why I like this is because I think people are super used to looking at computer programs. I mean, if you have Audacity, or a lot of people have Logic or GarageBand on a MacBook. So they're used to seeing this. Creatives are used to seeing this. Consoles are hard to learn. They're full of memorized buttons, and they're pages within pages. And we had a Midas Pro X in our broadcast, and it was more glitchy and harder to run through, although the architecture of the console sounded great. I'm not knocking the console, but we found that it was more glitchy than the DAW. This is super stable, and we moved it out. We shipped it out. We made thousands of bucks and made a lot of money for the church, and also got into a better product. So that's the win, right? So I'm going to play some of this for you guys and let you hear how we just let you hear the natural sound of the DAW for a second. Let you hear the product that we're getting, and then I can show you how we have everything sort of bust out, how we have the outputs going to the stream and the output going into the monitoring stations that we use. So I'll go ahead and hit play here and let you hear a little bit of it. This is actually live from a service a couple of weeks ago that this template was used to mix. So let you guys check it out. I'm going to bring you on the back half of the song where it's kind of rocking, and then I can explain a little bit and let you hear kind of section by section like what's happening. So here you guys go. And you're gonna tell right there, man, that's this is 100% live, and how clearly that I can hear everything, the articulation that's in the mix is great, and so this sounds great on YouTube, and you know, churches appreciate that. So I'm going to solo the drums real quick and let you hear when he gets into this open groove. So here we go. Now this is just the drums. And so this is with a kick sample and with a snare sample. And you really start to hear the drum compression. We're kicking that down a few dB there, locking everything in. That's good. Here is the track that comes with it. I'm just going to back it up back into that section here. And so listen to your track comes in. I'm gonna bring the bass in here, and then I'm gonna bring the bass parallel compression in to give it that little saturation. Here comes the little loop, probably in just a second, that kicks in. And so that's pretty darn tight. Our piano comes from a piano sample. We use keyscapes, and that's ran into main stage, and we have some pads and some things like that are ran through main stage and operated with a nano controller up on stage. But you can hear the fullness of the keys here. They sound really nice, and so that is a piano sample. Played live, but a piano sample. And so here are the track keys that we have coming in. Little organ there, I guess, right? And so this is live, last chorus of the song, and I'm gonna bring in the electrics here. Bring in the acoustics, kind of bring in the vocals here, and bring in the rest of the vocals, bring in the crowd mics. You can see on the master bus we have some things on it here, but we're happy with how it sounds. So that's super clean. That's super easy to understand. Obviously, it sounds pretty cool, and it's easy to replicate. Like every single week, you bring up the template. We have this week these vocalists were on here, and then the channels for a few more vocalists are here and hidden. What we run on the vocals is pretty neat. We have Waves tune that's on all the vocals. We have that ran over here and you can control that with a slider, and it's easy to move the key. Or we have Ableton control the root scale feature of the plugin. So whenever we fire a track in Ableton, it actually shoots a MIDI communication to the plugin itself and changes the key for us, so our online mix engineers don't even have to worry about that. So one thing that's pretty neat here, and let me explain to you how we're getting sound out of the DAW back into whatever video switcher that you guys would use, Constellation or anything like that. You can do it, and this is how we do it. We've got, obviously you saw the drum bus, so we're going to go bass through, we call it iMac. iMac is just a computer bus. That's what we call it. It can be your house music or house computer or whatever. All of these drums, bass, all the way through iMac is going to feed into another mix bus. That mix bus is located right here. You can see they're sent to all of the mix buses. That mix bus we send out right here to the stream, which is an output that's created. That is 3 and 4 in our outputs. 1 and 2 are the main of the DAW, and then 3 and 4 are the clean. Now, why do we do that? Why do we call it a clean feed? Because we actually record our production talk. So whether our video switcher's talking or whether our MD is talking on stage, obviously at home you don't want the people watching the stream at home to hear your MD talking or anybody communicating with cams or anything like that. We give our in-house audio engineer and broadcast an option to hear that. So our bass, guitar, Vox, Pastor, Crowd, keys, tracks, and iMac are all bussed into the mix bus, and that is sent to 3 and 4 to the stream. That's called the clean. All of that I just previously stated and the production talk is sent to the main, and that makes it the dirty feed. So the only time that that's heard at all is in the studio through the studio monitors. And so some audio engineers like that communication, sort of like having an old school squawk box or something like that where they can hear. That is built into the template. You can do that. It's very easy. We have minimal effects buses, but they suit any application. There's obviously a drum verb. There's a little bit of an acoustic verb. We have a piano verb, and then we have a Vox verb, a Vox delay, and then like a subtle little delay. This Vox delay has a wave super tap on it, so you can tap that on the screen, song per song, and it is pretty simple to do. So like dropping it back in there, I can let you hear. Here is just the vocals. So with a powerful enough computer on the end of everything, you can actually even use things that are super cool, like Waves Clarity that sucks some background noise out. Those plugins take up a lot of CPU space, so it's like, I would say use those at your own risk, but like we found that it's not that bad and that we can use them. So we have Waves Clarity happening on the lead vocal here, and then we have Waves Clarity on the other vocalist that's closest to the drums. So we're sucking some of that noise out, and that's helping us get a clearer sound to broadcast. So like when we get to the end of the song here, so check your shame at the door, 'cause it ain't welcome anymore. So this is super clean sound. You're in the Father's house. So I'll let you hear some of the guitars here, how they sound. Let me get into a section of the song that we're gonna have. I'll play that with the acoustic. So you really start to see, like, you know, this thing can really sound like a record. Not hard to do. Again, the template really has things 90% there always. Little tweaks here, from as technical as like manning the faders a little bit to as technical as, hey, I'm going to adjust the thresholds of the compressors just a little bit. we have all kinds of different people with experience levels mix in a DAW, and really everybody can be trained. So it's very, 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 very simple. One huge benefit that is cool with using the DAW, that was a huge selling point to us, that's not super technical related to how the DAW works, but it's neat. At the bottom of our master bus mix, we have a program called Audiomovers. And Audiomovers sends audio through the wire to the internet, and then I can log in and listen to that anywhere that I have internet connection, whether it's through a link on my phone or through a link on my computer. And it's actually fast enough that we have had people log in to our computer with a remote desktop. There's a lot of different programs out there, Google Remote Desktop, and they'll open up a window and have our computer screen in a window virtually because they're logged in. They'll open up another window and they'll have Audiomovers, and they actually can virtually mix. We've done nights of worship where some of our friends that interface with us, mix engineers and producers in Nashville, actually have been inside our computer mixing events for us at church, totally remote. So the technology is there, and it's in this template to where somebody calls out or somebody has to be home. You might not be down a volunteer. They can mix from their home, or they can mix anywhere. You get a pair of these Sennheiser HD650s or a good set of open back headphones or your in-ears, and you can mix anywhere. It's remote. So that's really the benefit for us using the DAW. Number one, it's easier on our volunteers. It's easier to train people. It's easier to train people inside the sandbox that we want them to play in. Number two, you can have somebody remote mix in. I've actually done that service for churches. After their rehearsal, I've been able to log in, spend about an hour, get everything cleaned up for them so that the volunteer can come in on Sunday morning. He has audio, thresholds sort of written down and volume levels written down. That's certainly not the gospel, but he can start there and make things easier on himself and on his team. And then really my favorite thing that really was different using this broadcasting in a DAW is that we record every service and every rehearsal. So we record Thursday, we record Sunday morning rehearsal. Then we have a Sunday 9 a.m. and a Sunday 10:30. All of that is tracked. So what you just heard was Sunday morning at 10:30, a song that we did for our church, and then there was a supplementation of the guitar track that was used that morning, but then there was also brought in a guitar track that was used on Thursday just to sort of help beef it up. So it's like if you're wanting to record a night of worship at your church, or you think, okay, well, man, we really want to try to release a song, it's in a DAW. And so you've recorded it. So maybe you take 90% of the tracks from the 10:30 service, but the Thursday was a better take on the bass. You played it to a click. You might have a shot at saving sections without bringing players back in. It's really, 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 really neat. Another main reason that I've loved to do this is routinely after Thursday rehearsal, I can bring our bass player and drummer in the room, and I can send this section to them and allow them to hear how they're playing together, what they need to adjust. I can send that, I can just export that snippet, send it to their phones, and then on Thursday they have a real honest picture of how they played and how they can improve, creating a culture where everybody wants to get 2% better, everybody wants to grow as players and as a team. It's super important. This tool allows you to do that. Another extremely practical example is, what are the guitars doing? And so monitoring how much reverb are on guitars, things that can just super saturate the mix that you might not think about. And so that's the end of the song here. Let me back it up so you hear the guitars. I can send this to the two guitar players, let them see how they're playing, get good, honest feedback to them, and then here's the bass and the piano. How are they locking in? So, I mean, it's a great tool. Our team loves after rehearsal to come in, all get in the studio room and take a listen to how the rehearsal went. And it's a really, 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 really great tool for creativity. It's a really great tool for your systems to improve your team. And so none of that can be done in a console. So this has been a game changer for us. I know it can be a game changer for you and your team. We're giving away this DAW template. So we have a version of this DAW template that includes nothing but Waves plugins, and you can get that Waves $240 some a year subscription. And you need, Audiomovers, and you're going to need Slate to trigger the drums. Or we have a version of this template that's totally Studio One stock plugins. You need to purchase Waves Real-Time Tune with that, and then you need to purchase, again, Slate Drum Trigger in order to be able to use those functions. But I'm Andy, and this is 9T Worship, and we're here to help. You know, mixing, doing video, presenting a service online. It can be scary, it can be daunting, but just a lot of people hadn't taken that step into really understanding how simple it can be, how much gear they already have, and how much creativity just waiting to be unlocked with a little bit of coaching. And at 9T Worship, that is what we do. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Drop something in the chat there, say hello. Jump over to 9tworship.com, fill out a link. I would love to have a conversation about how 9T can partner with you. We're giving away our DAW template, but it's not the DAW template that you want. It's all the creative know-how and systems know-how that comes along with using that can help take stress off you, help you focus on the main thing. Click the link in the description below, or you can head to 9tworship.com, fill out the form. Let's have a conversation today, and 9T Worship can help you establish and reach your production and online streaming goals.